Hi guys, it's Michelle Jones and I'm live. I've got Conrad Francis from Jakarta. Actually, he's in Jakarta right now. Sri
Hi,
Lankan
Michelle.
two-time Olympian Conrad Francis is here with me, and we're going to talk about the winning edge. In this day and age, well, in this time in our life, in 2020, we are all looking at how we can find that winning edge because of everything that's going on. People are struggling to just get back on track with what they were doing, get back on track, and then get higher in their businesses, in their life, in their performance, in their sport. Because of all the lockdowns and everything that's happening, people are struggling to figure out if there is even a chance of finding that winning edge. So I thought, why not have Conrad Francis here with us, two-time Sri Lankan Olympic swimmer. And Conrad, that's not just the only thing that you've been able to accomplish. But before I introduce everything that you've done, please say hello to our audience.
Firstly, thank you, Michelle, for having me on this on your channel, and I welcome everybody around the world who is watching this program. And I hope you will enjoy this interaction between me and Michelle. And I'm sure you guys might learn something, one or two from me.
That's right. It's a very casual thing. Conrad and I have known each other for, my gosh, what, I think 9 years, Conrad,
Yeah.
since we were in Sri Lanka. Um, and Conrad's just been an amazing, very humble person, and amazing friend. When I first met you, Conrad, I think it was Adam that knew straight away that you were an Olympian. I didn't know anything about you. I mean, that's how it works with a lot of sports people that Adam introduces me to.
Yeah.
And Conrad was so nice because he actually mentored our little boy. Dean was, how old was Dean? He was, I think, what, 3 or something?
Yeah, three. Yeah, around.
Oh, sorry. So Adam just whispered here. He was 5 when you taught him swimming in Sri Lanka, and Natalie was about 8.
Eight.
And I've got this Olympian in my pool in Sri Lanka teaching my kids. I felt like, wow, so special. But Conrad, at a very early age, you found your calling for swimming. I was reading one of the articles written by I think it was a Sri Lankan cricket, Sri Lankan Olympic organization, and
Mhm.
they put out an article about you, and I found it so amazing that at 6, oh my God, 6, you were swimming 50 meters out into the Indian Ocean, and it's like, weren't you scared? What were you thinking?
Um, I guess I was never afraid of water. I liked water. Even in my small age, I remember mom used to say, it was quite a tough decision to take me out after they put me into the shower because I was never afraid. I was it was like a friend to me. Water was just like a friend, and for me, swimming in the ocean was just like fun. You see waves, you just duck. At that age, you don't know what you're doing actually. So, and I was introduced with swimming from my grandfather. That's my mom's father. And every weekend we used to go to Mount Lavinia Beach, just to play around.
Yeah.
And I had no fear. I had absolutely no fear, and I used to just keep going. And of course, my grandfather used to be behind, but it was just I guess it was just a natural thing for me to be with water. I guess that was like a God's calling. Okay, this is where you're supposed to be. So
That's right.
so yeah, so it's been ever since then. It's no turn. It hasn't been something that I think about, and it's been something natural to me. So yeah, that's where, and I think my journey began there.
But did everyone in your family swim? So you're saying it very natural? No.
My grandfather used to swim, and not until late that my dad started to swim with me and my sister, but my mom does not swim.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
there's only one grandfather of mine who swam, and my dad's father wanted me to play cricket. So it was a battle of the two grandfathers. Which sport does a grandson take up? So of course I played cricket for college and I swam, but then I realized swimming was more of my passion, and for me to chase my dreams was much more greater in swimming than in cricket, because at the end of the day it was more of a team effort,
That's right.
and swimming was more of an individual sport. So it was on me how I wanted to be, where I wanted to get in life in the sport, and
Yes.
yeah,
And swimming wasn't really a big thing in Sri Lanka. Cricket was, so
yeah,
you were literally almost like at a very young age looking outside the box,
yeah,
without even realizing it, right?
yeah. I was apparently my mom says before I could take my school bag, I had the cricket bat in my hand. Go to school. So yeah, so I guess at that age, sports was everything to me, and I just enjoyed everything that I did. I had no pressure, absolutely no pressure whatsoever. I just whatever the opportunity that came around, I grabbed it.
That's right.
It's,
Well, I was sharing one of the posts that I shared yesterday, well, last night, was a post of this little boy, on the diving board and an adult on the diving board. Very few people actually carry on their dreams from infancy to adulthood. Some people find, challenges along the way that take them away from that dream. Now, what I find fascinating is you've had that dream as a child. You went into the Olympics. You've been there, done that. It wasn't just the Olympics that you've been in. You were also a record holder. Sorry, I'm just looking at my guide here. You were a record holder on the Asian age group. So, you know, you could just say, well, yep, done it. Been there, done that. But you have just recently also joined the Masters. You've started competing again. So the dream keeps continuing. How do you nurture that dream? Well, let's start from when you were a child. So you're the only, swimming wasn't a big thing. It wasn't something that your whole family embraced. It wasn't something that they were doing. How did your family nurture that dream and help you keep pushing for that dream?
um, I guess they were very supportive, but they were never the parent. They were never the type to say that no, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to keep winning. Winning is everything. It was more like go and enjoy yourself, you know, enjoy yourself, have fun. And I guess I used to never put pressure on myself, because I took it as it's just a competition. You do your hard work, you keep swimming, results will come in, right? So that was actually a time when I started swimming. I remember it was, I think, my first meet. It was the novices at Royal College, and I won all three. And that was
Wow.
the first. That was my first stepping stone, my first novices, and that's when I guess I my name a little bit, you know, and and it didn't stop there, because I knew I had potential in myself, and even then my parents never said, okay, now you've got to keep winning. Of course not, I believe at that age, when you're in your early age groups, like when you're 9, 10, 11, it's all about enjoying that sport, going through the motion, learning. It's you got to learn victory and defeat, because that's what makes you a better athlete at that age. And
That's right.
so I guess I I was a bit mature at my age, and I looked at it in a different way. And even though my coaches put me through so much of hard work, and I guess they saw the real talent in me, but I still enjoy. I used to laugh, joke around in training. But when it mattered the most, when training, when it was the main sets, I didn't care about anybody else. It was just myself, myself and against the clock. I used to never race. I used to never race my colleagues because racing my colleague didn't show me anything. But racing the clock was what was more important to me. Um, and then it was just, I used to take it 1 meet at a time, one swim meet at a time, one competition at a time. And then in '92, I believe I was selected for the first Asian Championship. I was still a young guy, to Beijing. That was my first trip to Beijing, and I believe I came fifth in my first international meet for the national. I was with the national team, and I was like,
And
wow, this is
how old were you?
my God. I think I was 12, 12 with that team. Small
I
little,
think
little takeaways, little suitcase. But
that's right.
even then, my parents never came with me. They just dropped me off with the team, and I was on my own. So I guess pretty much at the age of 12, 13, I was basically, I was spreading my own wings, and and I took it as something that is something that I could get better at, and I grabbed it with both my arms, with both my hands, and I guess the key till today is I enjoy the sport. I enjoy what I do, and I don't put pressure on myself because end of the day, it's just a sport.
That's
I
right.
believe a happy athlete, a happy swimmer, or a happy athlete will always do well because you're mentally happy. You're not putting pressure on yourself. And I just, I just take, I make small targets in life, and end of the day, you look at the big picture. But to get to the big picture, I take small strides, and then I just keep ticking the boxes off. And
That's
of
right.
course, you make your progress on the way. You do what you have to do to get to that position. So
I
yeah.
like how you're making it. I like how you're making it seem like it's so easy. Oh, I was just fine, It's just ticking the box. I relaxed and enjoyed myself. Fact of the matter, I was swimming in school. Fact of the matter is, every day you actually have to have time for your practice. You have to balance school and your swimming.
Correct,
And
correct.
I don't know how it was like when I was in school, our practices were always after school. But in Colombo, when I met a few swimmers and they were practicing like early, during the day before they even started school. So how was your training back then? Was it that way? Was it early on during the day? And what were the other sacrifices that you had to make to be able to keep this dream?
Okay. Well, we started with college because I studied at St. Joseph's. So we should start training at 5:15 in the morning, 5:15 to 7. Um, but it was something new to me when I first started morning training, uh, because to meet an entire school team of almost 80 plus swimmers, at one given time, it was like overwhelming. But then you have that spirit in you that you're swimming for college, you're swimming for yourself, you're swimming for your college, your teammates, and then it didn't stop there because then I had to start swimming back in the afternoon again from 6 to 8, and I said, when do I play a little bit of cricket? You know, and then of course school finished at 1:30, so from 2:30 to 4:30 I used to play cricket, and then go and swim. And I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it. I took it each how do I say, each session was something new to me. I used to go in with a phase of I'm going to learn something new.
Right.
And well, in terms of sacrifice, no parties. It's, I believe if you want to achieve something, you have to give back something. You got to hold back, and at the same time, studies was very important in my family. My dad, he used to say, you need to pass your exams. There is no passing, no sport, because at the end of the day, it's not about swimming. End of the day, you've got to be a professional in your life skills.
Right.
So in that way, in that aspect, I was well guided. I thank my parents. They guided me. College, my rectors in college guided me well, and yeah, I like I said, I took one obstacle at a time. And sacrifice, I guess sacrifice is the key here. If you want to reach the top, nothing comes easy.
That's right. I actually was reading that and I was telling my husband, oh, would you have survived? No parties. Conrad had to say no to the parties. And that's actually, I mean, when I remember swimming in high school, I found was difficult already because, you also miss out on catching up with your friends at the end of the day. But now swimming in college and swimming as a profession, your discipline, you can't do stupid stuff. You can't, well, preferably, I don't know if others actually drink, but you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't overindulge in food. And, there's so many things that you can't do. And the socializing bit is the biggest thing that you actually sacrifice. And I like how you said that, well, if you truly want something, you have to be willing to give something in return. And I think, right now, and just to relate that to what's happening right now, people are saying, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to make things different with my job, with my business, with my finances, if I can't do what I used to do? Keeping your eye on the goal is something that you've always done. So I think everyone should just keep an eye on their goal, be willing to make changes, the sacrifices of not being able to interact too much, not being able to, I guess, travel too much, or changing the parameters of things is important. I'm just curious, when you were doing your trainings, because I know that you also trained in Australia, you studied in Australia, right? So you did some of your training in Australia for your sport, right?
Yes,
so the
correct.
changes that you had to adapt from your trainers in Sri Lanka to your trainers in Australia, the I guess the physical fitness things that you had to change, the way you had to get used to the temperature change from humid hot Colombo to Australia that gets cold depending on where you are. I mean, what was the most difficult situation you found yourself in that you had to change how you were thinking or try and adapt something new to be able to keep going and performing at your best?
Um, I think the biggest change for me was a complete 360 when I was offered a scholarship in 1996 by the National Olympic Committee. So I actually moved to Melbourne, to Australia in '96, very very young age, with my mom, because my mom just came to drop me off, and then she came back. And I guess there were so many elements as a change. One was the schooling, because the school was different. It was a co-ed school. It was a co-ed school, so that we went to an all boys Catholic school. That was one. Then I guess the culture itself, by itself, was a bit different for us. Um, and then I think the third one was the training aspect. When I first met my coach, Lee Nugent, this big guy, at the Nanawadi pool. That's the first time I believe it was 15th of January 1996. So I arrived on the 13th of Jan, and then on the 14th I had to go to Nanawadi to meet him, and this big guy comes up, and I was like this little fellow. I'm like, is he my coach? Uh, he was the head coach, and then the assistant coach was Mark Thompson then. And just watching them swim, I just sat and watched them swim. It was just mind blowing. You were like, if they are swimming like this, what have you done before? It was such a jump, such a jump. But it was at the same time, it was like I want to get in, and start swimming. So I believe I still remember like today, the only thing that my coach said, Lee Nugent, he said, when you enter these doors, there is no outside world. This is your world. You come to do a job. Just think that you come to do a professional job. And that is it. You don't bring extra luggage with you. For me, it was like at 6 times like extra luggage. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, okay, coach, okay. So that was, I guess, one culture, one way of looking at it. and the mileage they used to do. Back home, combination of morning and evening, it used to be a total of between 6 and 7K, 7,000 meters. It was 7,000 meters my first session in the morning. And I said, like, I didn't even weigh, I think, 50 kilos, this tiny little fellow, and it was just to get into that pace of their swimming. It took me almost 1 month, just 4 weeks, just to keep going. I had no rest for like 2.5 hours. I was just training up and down that black line, up and
Wow.
down. I believe I had tears too in my eyes, in my goggles. It was so painful. And then you train again in the afternoon from 5:45 to 7:30. So that was one aspect. And then the second aspect, I think, was the schooling. Never used to the girls in being in a school, getting used to them, and the schooling terminology. I guess the way they teach, the way they were teaching, the way they were teaching me, and the way of understanding the concepts was a bit different, because back home in Sri Lanka it was in Sinhalese, in our native language, and in
Yeah.
Australia it was in English, which was not a problem to me because I speak English at home. And the teachers are a bit more open. You can speak to them, but going back, we respect them more. We take a step back. But in school, it's a bit more different. And the principal then, Miss Morrow, she was absolutely awesome. She was always super supportive of me, of my studies, of my swimming. And I believe what you need, you just tell us, and we will accommodate it to you. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. This sounds good. This is a good deal. Um, so yeah, and I think the next aspect was traveling by public transport, which was the hardest for me. I used to live in Rowville, so to go out to Nanavati, it used to take me almost about an hour or so by bus. So that's a lot of walking, busing, and to be in the pool at 5. I used to leave home at around 3:45 in the morning
Wow.
by public transport. So whether it is winter, whether it is summer, spring, autumn, I got into that routine at the age of 16 to do everything by myself. The school bag, training bag, my uniform bag. So I guess those were the obstacles, but I took it as a positive, because I believe every positive has an impact on life, and it makes you a better person. It makes you a stronger person. And I guess you don't take life for granted, because it because if you do that, I believe if you do that, that's where you make your mistakes. So
That's
I I take it as everything that I did is what led me to be who I am and to achieve what I could have achieved in life.
That's right. That's right. I love that. There's different sacrifices, as you said, in different levels in your life, and the higher the level that you get, the more you need to try and
Yeah.
do to be able to get to your goal. Again, it wasn't an easy thing, but you kept going, you kept pursuing. So, is that what the winning edge is? Is it just all the hard work? How do you maintain a positive mindset? How do you ensure that you don't doubt yourself? Did you ever feel that? Did you ever have a point when you were in Melbourne thinking, oh God, this is too big for me, I can't do this?
Yes, of course, there are times you doubt yourself. You know, you're being sent from you're sent by the National Olympic Committee, hoping in 4 years to represent the Olympics, and the weight on your shoulders is your country, uh, and each day it's only I who know the pain I have to go through, my body. And it was that relationship between coach, myself, not even my parents. It was always my coach and myself. When I had problems, I used to talk to him. He was like a dad to me, like a father. um, but the good thing that I did, one thing I did by myself was I used to maintain a logbook, like a diary. So every day when I trained, I used to write my sessions, write everything how I felt in that particular session. And so when I used to hit a brick wall, or when I didn't feel right, I used to refer back to those notes and see what mistakes did I do. And then I used to, of course, approach my coach and speak, say, okay, coach, we did this set. This is how I felt. What do I do to overcome this? So that was one of my little secret weapons that I used to have. And until today, I write every single session that I have done in my life.
Oh,
So that's more than 20 years of diaries that I've written every.
wow. That's amazing. Wow.
And then, my coach was my mentor. I didn't have anybody else, and he knew. I think when I was struggling, when I was going through a hard patch during training, times were never coming in. Especially when you're doing this VO2 sets, you're pushing yourself against the wall. You know, and another issue that I had was the biggest issue he had was me putting on weight because I could never be able to put on weight because weight is getting strength and power. So in the
Right.
gym, so every time when we should train in the gym, he used to like you eat. How much more do you want me to eat? I am eating, but it's my
Yeah.
body, you know. Uh, and then he got a dietitian for me from the club. So I pretty much had my own entourage. I had two specialized coaches. I had a nutritionist. I had a physiotherapist, a masseur, and a psychologist.
Yeah.
I said, and I had this massive argument saying, I don't need a psychologist. I'm fine. I'm nothing wrong in my head. And then
Uh,
he actually said, you stupid, it's not for your head. It's to get your mindset. So, and they actually were with me for about 8 years until my entire professional career. So that's when I began to start being a professional athlete. My mindset completely changed.
mm,
When I was 17, I believe, it was just like a committee board, and it's me. And then we used to plan everything for the whole year. And looking at the Olympics, that was my main goal, and that was his main goal. Um, so I guess those were my obstacles that I had, and winter training outdoors. Oh my God, 4:30. In Melbourne we should train at 5 in the morning. So I thought 5 back home was good. 4:45 was even worse because that means you need to be at the pool at 4:30 in the morning to do your stretching. So we had to be in the pool before our coach comes. So that was like, but you know good those are good memories. Those absolutely good memories. I believe that training in the morning in winter was something that made me really tough. It
I'm
made
sure.
it killed me. We used to wait in our track and we should look at the pool just like this and we go, oh. But
That's right. Psyching yourself to just jump into the water.
it was crazy. Like, you jump in, you're like, you're like, oh. But swim as fast as you can, for about 100 meters just to get yourself warmed up. But I believe that training did a lot of good to me because it strengthened my heart a lot more and my lungs because I think the resistance of that cold made me so much more
Oh,
of a
yes.
good athlete. And I guess that also a turning point, getting used to the culture and the climate, especially the climate was the most important thing for me.
That's
Getting
right.
so yeah, I guess those were my little things. Everything else was just like it's an experience, right? It's all about experiencing new things, adapting to new things, and I just kept moving on. And like I said, everything that I did, I believe, made me a better person, and learn from your mistakes.
That's right. I love that. I love your sharing, Conrad. And I'm just gonna say hello first to everyone that's gone online. Um, if you are on any of the pages watching this, we're live on 7 platforms right now. Type up your messages for Conrad or say hello. Tell us where you're joining us from, and we'll be able to read your comments. The only comments I won't be able to share, but I can read from my phone, are the ones that go onto my personal Facebook page. So, Don, thanks for watching. Adam, Elizabeth, thanks for watching. I missed a few, but let me just see. There's some comments here. Adam was just saying, never afraid of the water. He can't believe that you're recording in diaries. and he's wondering if you actually psyched yourself out, when you're about to jump into the cold water in Melbourne. Because I mean, the way you're describing it, Conrad, and I'm wondering if the AIS pool is still that way. But I actually thought that the pools now, at least, are heated. But
Oh,
you're
they are heated, but that heating system doesn't do any good, because it's still cold. But in 2000, just before the Olympic trials, 3 months out, we went up to Thredbo, the High Altitude Training Center, AIS. That's on another platform. That what I is on another scale, because it's all about resistance up training up there. We were there for 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. We were there for about 4 to 6 weeks. We were training just before Olympic trials, and those rooms that we had no heating system. You have to keep yourself warm. So
oh my gosh.
I used to coach, so Lee Nugent, I used to call him Nugget. I think there's something wrong in this room. There is no heating system. He's like, that's the whole point. There is no heating system. You got to rug up, you got to start. It's a mental state. It's a mindset, switching it on all the time. And we used to walk from our cabins to the pool, which took about 10 minutes, but it took 40 minutes. It was so cold. And we trained, and the first time when I trained, I thought I could breathe, because we were I believe we were more than 7,000 meters above sea level. And I was swimming along. Even my normal times I couldn't achieve while I was training, because I had asthma. I was like, Coach, I think I have asthma. It's like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that we are, and
So
and
high.
I'm like, so high. But it took about a week for all of us to adapt. But then I saw the benefits coming in, and we were training 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the night. Of course, different types of sessions in the morning, different types in the night, because we were preparing ourselves to race for Olympic trials. So given the situation scenarios, and then during the day, it was sleep, it was train, breakfast, physiotherapy, whatever we did our sessions, gym, and then we used to do a trail walking up in the mountains.
Oh wow, that would have been so cool though.
It's extremely cool, because you see mountain bike guys practicing, going down stream. So that was all part of our program, and to relax our minds, to get good blood flow in, good oxygen in, and then we used to go back to our cabins, lunch, sleep, back again at training. So we did it for about 4 to 6 weeks, and then 2 weeks out, we came down to Melbourne, back to Melbourne, and then we flew out. We flew out to Sydney for the Olympic trials, and that's when I knew, the benefits. So I guess everything had something to do, for me to achieve that end goal. And I loved every single moment, and I guess the teammates that were with me, I had some awesome guys training with. Had Brooke Hanson, she was one of my teammates. Adrian Radley, you name it, we had them. One of the top-notch swimmers in Australian swimming, and we all were training at the same goal and pushing each other, psyching up each other. Of course, we take the piss out of each one. That's normal, and that's what kept us going. And of course, our coaches, they were our mentors, our godfathers, and I miss it though. I miss it till today, But I guess those are the memories that I have that keeps me in the sport has kept me in the sport for this long, and what makes me, I guess, enjoy every session, that makes me get into the pool every day and try to still achieve what I can achieve with what I have right now. I coach myself. So I think of all the, if I trace back 20 years of my swimming, so that's why I said those 20 diaries, the 20 years of diaries coming to play. I take a page out of it and I go, okay, let's do this session today. So yeah, I have no regrets, absolutely no regrets, and just love what I do.
Well, now that you're saying you love what you do, I'm going to pick up a question here from Connie. And Connie's saying, have you ever wondered what if you had chosen cricket instead?
Oh, I would have been a rich man by now, a rich athlete with all the endorsements. I guess I love cricket. I absolutely love cricket, and I guess only two things could have happened. Either I would have made the team, or I would have not made the team. So I'm guessing I would have made the team because I was a left arm pace bowler. So I guess left arm pace bowlers were like golden, for any national team. And I guess the passion and the hard work that the ethic of training, I was I was such a disciplined guy because I had to make sure everything was done. And even in cricket, while others had all left, I used to still play by myself. Do the batting drills, bowling drills by myself. And yeah, I guess I I, I miss it. I wish I would have made a national team for cricket.
Well. Now that you're saying that, hold on. Adam, in Jakarta, we should be able to invite Conrad to play in your cricket team, eh? Watch
I
out,
am,
Conrad. We have people here watching from Indonesia.
I know. Tell him I am playing a game 5th of September at George William Town this weekend. I'm playing a
Oh, wow.
yeah.
We need videos of
So
that. I want
just
to
so
play cricket. Okay,
so, so I started.
we have
No,
a hello here from Nanette Fernandez. Good listening to your Olympian stories.
my mother-in-law. My God.
There you go. She's online. Okay. All right. Just trying to see. Just keep sending your messages. If by any chance I don't see them here, we will answer the messages later on. Again, as I said, we're on 7 platforms. I'm looking at the personal page here in front of me. Sometimes, depending on, there's a bit of a delay from when we're streaming and when it's coming out. Some pages might have a delay on when the comments come up. Just type up your comments and we'll make sure we'll answer the comments. Okay. Now you got this massive set of experiences that you've had. You've been trained in different ways, different places. With all your experience here and now being, I have to use this word because I just kept thinking about it last night, the Aquaman of Jakarta International School. So the aquatics director of Jakarta International School. How do you choose what parts of your experience and your training do you choose for your kids, for the dragons, the aqua dragons? That's what they're called, right?
So we have a year-round program, which is the club Aqua Dragons, and then we have the varsity season, which is the Just Dragons. I think the positive side of my job is I put myself in their shoes because I've been there, done that. So when I see a student or when I see a swimmer, and the way they react to water, the way they train in water, instantly I can refer and go, okay, this child, let's say, uh, Charlene is swimming at these times, as she's at this age. Okay, I know. Okay, this is the swimmer we need to hold on to, and she has a long future in swimming. So that's one way I look at it. And the second way is when we take in new swimmers into our team, we do trials. so to put into which groups. So looking at that, I know the swimmers' talents, their weaknesses, and their positives. So of course, if you have more positives, it's good. And then the weaknesses, I try and take the weakness as a positive, turn it around, make it an advantage for them, for the student, of course. And and when they're training, I'm a strong believer, because I believe what the way you train gives out a lot out of a swimmer. You can learn, you can study a lot out of a swimmer, how they react to certain sets, how they feel after certain sets. And being in that position that I was, and now when I look at it from an aerial view, I I I try and let them not make the same mistakes that I did back then. So I try and make them. I try. Of course, they need to make mistakes. That's how we learn, right?
Right.
But just giving them that little guidance, that needs to be, and that little bit of push. And I speak on a lot of experience of what I did with them, or what I used to do, and I try and flip it around and say, okay, if we do this, this is what you will achieve. And because I did not do this, is what I did not achieve in my career. So I don't want you to make those same mistakes. So so it's all about moving forward in life. It's not taking steps back. Even if you, like, my first thing I say is, when you walking through these doors, you're coming to do a job, nothing else. You're representing the school, and you represent yourself. School first, then yourself, right? So those are the only two things. And I say, when you are in the pool, you are here to train. You are here to train. There is no egoness. There is no I am the best, because we are a team. We train simultaneously, and respect. For me, respect is one of the key importance. Respect your fellow men, respect your coaches, and you've got to be humble. You have to be humble. It's not about having that ego, the halo on your head, and saying I know everything, because we don't know everything. I still learn every day from students. That's what makes us different. That's what makes human beings. Um, so taking into account Aku Dragons and the varsity team, so I treat them a bit differently. And at the end of the day, I know where I want to achieve, and I give them the targets. Okay, this is what we need to achieve, and
Mm.
keeping that in mind, like you said, eyes on the prize. That's one of my mottos as well. Eyes on the prize. We achieve that no matter what. Of course, it's like two steps and then one step back, but then at least we're getting close to it. Achieve.
That's
And
right.
giving it your best is all I ask from. I'd never put pressure on kids. Absolutely not, because at this age you need to enjoy sport, because for them it's, when you're in college, when you're in school, in high school it's studies, and studies is first, then sport. But to balance life, I believe both have to go simultaneously, because that's what makes you a better person. End of the day, you're able to you're able to take the heat, you're able to take pressure. It's all about absorbing pressure and time management. Um, so that's what I try to create in our club. And of course, end of the day, getting results is the key factor. And my doors are always open, for my athletes. No matter what, I've always said, whatever problems you'll have, you can come speak to me. If you cannot speak to your parents, come speak to me, and I'll try and direct you to whom you should speak to. And I enjoy it. I absolutely enjoy working with kids. You know, I guess it's like a joy to me. Going to school, meeting new faces, meeting new kids, saying hi, hello. Every day every day it's a new it's a how do I say it? It's a new challenge. It's a new
That's right.
challenge, and it's not only for me, even for my 23 coaches that I work, the coaches that work under me. I always tell them, take each day as a new challenge. What happened yesterday is done. You move forward, because as a swimmer, mentally it affects you, because, oh, I did this yesterday. It's done. It's locked up. You look forward. You work on their next skill of set. Um, so that's how I groom athletes, and I would say my team as well.
Yeah. I
And
love that. I love that you said, consider each day as a new challenge. because that's what it is. I mean, when the day ends, it's over. There are no regrets. Whatever you've done, you've done. As long as you've done it to the best of your abilities. And then tomorrow's a new day, new set of challenges. Push yourself again. Keep your eye on the
Yeah,
prize.
because I say once you leave these gates, swimming is done. Swimming is done. You don't think about swimming. You don't even talk about swimming in your home because swimming should be done only for that few hours. But if you're going to continue keep talking about swimming, about swimming, that actually affects you mentally. It
Mm,
affects you. So for me, keeping the mentality, of course, you got to keep focused, but at the same time, you've got to do other things in life. You've got to do other things in life that makes you happy. Because that's what brings you back into the sport, right?
that's right.
So,
Hold on.
so that
So, what would you advise the parents? I mean, we will have parents watching this thing. So, what would you advise the parents of swimmers when they go home? I'm assuming, like, especially if the parents are competitive parents, they'll go, "Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Keep practicing, keep doing it." Should they keep the practices just in school? I mean, at least for the days where the kids are going to school. I'm assuming it's slightly different right now because everything's homeschooled, so they have to do the practices at home. But how do I mean, what would you advise for them so that they don't overwhelm the children who are already practicing on a daily basis?
um, you see, the biggest problem in sport now is it's not the swimmer, it's the parents. The parents are competing. It's not the athlete. You
That's
know, it is crazy because the trend. You rewind 20 years back. My parents didn't even come to watch me swim. They never watched me
right.
swim. I can count literally and tell how many times my mom and dad watched me swim. My dad has watched me, I think, only at the two Olympics and at the Commonwealth Games, three Commonwealth Games. My mom is the same. But when I swam locally, it was basically they dropped me off at school, the team, and they picked me up after school, after the competition, bring me home. But we never spoke about doing it in the house. We absolutely never. It was a no-no. It was an absolute no-no because because it was. I guess they knew better than me. Uh, if you drag the sport into the house, also, it's mentally. So the one thing that they said was what you do at the pool is at the pool. When you come home, it's family. It's all about family.
That's
So
right.
nowadays, even now, the trend is I have seen because I've worked in many international schools around the world. Parents are so competitive. When the parent is competitive, it puts a lot of pressure on the child. A lot of pressure. Why? The parent is the one who wants the child to perform. It's not the child's performance.
That's
90% of the times now, the children are just doing it for the sake of doing the sport, to please the parent, but not themselves. That's the biggest thing I see in sport nowadays. It's the parent, it's the parent education. And parents are never satisfied, right? If it's like some parents have two coaches, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and we just have one coach and we stick to one coach because what happens is when you switch coaches, you know, you're deviating from where you want to achieve from that one particular goal, that coach that creates that program for the child. So the child gets totally confused. Totally confused. Sport is all about long term, longevity, staying in the sport as long as you can, enjoying the sport. Because you don't want to turn professional when you're 13, 14, because that's not the goal. Unless you're Ian Thorpe, where you just blossom out at 15, 16 and you start breaking world records. So for us, staying in the sport was was the key. Staying in the sport. So I always tell I keep saying to the parents, you know, let them enjoy what they do. It's all about enjoyment. And only if there is an issue, you speak in your
mm,
home. Don't talk about, oh, I didn't swim this race well yesterday. Don't bring it to the house because that race is done. Because if you're going that to the next day, your body is of course going to, you're mentally, we are wired in such a way, our CSN is wired such a way that you're going to keep thinking of that bad race, and you're not going to perform in your next race. So whatever is done is done. You focus on the new day. So that's what I see a lot nowadays in the present generation, especially in school swimming. You know,
Right.
the, the mother sits on the stand, and the mother is coaching the child while the coach is standing on the deck, and the child just, oh, now who do I listen to?
Yeah.
And it happens. It happens. So that's when you have to speak to the parent and say, hey, listen, are you swimming or is the child swimming? So
That's
majority of the time, oh no, oh no, coach, I want my child to be a swimmer. I want my child to be an Olympian. And sometimes you got to do a reality check with them, saying not every swimmer is going to become an Olympian swimmer. Not every swimmer is going to break world records. So it's the parent education is, I think, is the key in sport nowadays. And I believe the coaches are there to coach, right? That's what we are there for. Parents, I always say, parents are supposed to be the supportive staff. You only support them, give them what they need.
That's
You
right.
know, that's what our parents did.
That's right. I
And
love that. And you're right. I mean, I remember, in school performances, for whether it was theater, whether it was swimming, I didn't have my mom the same way in all those things. Obviously, my mom was a single parent working for quite a while. My dad had his aneurysm when I was 13. So from 13 onwards, it was my mom, who we relied on. But that's swimming. I'd go home, I'd tell her what happened. That was the only way she found out how I performed in swimming. But
exactly.
I love that, mindset works both ways. If we're trying to nurture our children's dreams, we have to have the mindset of nurturing our children's dreams, not living their dreams, or not even letting them live our dreams. Because I think that's another problem, Conrad, as you were saying. They swim because their parents want them to swim, not because it's what they want to do, right?
It's like they are living their dream. They want to live their dream. But end of the day, the child is suffering inside. I have seen to my very eyes athletes crying, and then you start breaking down, and then when I got to speak to them and I actually get into the problem, that's when the real story comes. Like, no, coach, I have so much of pressure. If I don't perform, it's not going to be good for me at home. They have so much of expectation. So that's when you fall down to the parents. You speak to the parents, say, listen, you're doing more damage than good to your son or daughter. You know, so there are parents who have listened but taken step backs, and I have seen tremendous incline swimmers who have improved. When there is no pressure. Like I said, a happy athlete will always perform because you're mentally happy, you're
That's
physically
right.
happy, and you enjoy your race. Like at the end of the day, you must enjoy your race. When you enjoy, then will come. No matter, not only swimming, even in life in general, you've got to enjoy. And studies, same thing. You've got to enjoy. Like I said, studies are on you, but parents will only give you that support, whatever you need. But it's up to you how you want to take it, how you want to learn it, and how you want to put it into your system, right?
That's
So
right.
I guess there are so many ways, so many angles, as you see, and you know, I take myself as a person who has been there, gone through the hard work, and for me, helping another student or helping another human being is the best thing that I can do. That makes me happy inside. So that's how I
It's,
look
con-
at it.
it's continuing your dream by supporting somebody else the way your mentors have supported you. So it's an amazing way of actually just completing that circle in your life. Now, when you went through all that, there were changes that you had to do. As you said, you had your dietitian, you had your mindset coach. Right now, where you're at as coach to the students and as someone who's still building his performance levels to keep competing professionally and in the master's levels. What is your routine like? How do you eat? How do you prep yourself? I've seen your Instagram posts of your exercise routines. And what is a normal day for Conrad Francis?
Okay, a normal day, right? Let's just say that my alarm goes off at around 4:10 in the morning because I've
Oh,
got used to that. My body, I think I have a sleep. I'm permanently scarred. So sleeping, I'm scarred for life in sleeping. Even my wife says, sleep. You need to sleep, and I just can't. I just can't. So I wake up at 4:15, and I normally, because I believe everything I achieved in life is because of God, because I leave everything in His hands. So I normally wake up, I say my prayers. That's how my routine starts. I say my prayers, then of course I have my whatever I have to have. I have a fruit normally in the morning just to get my metabolism working and going, and then I head to the pool by around 5:30. Um, and then by 6 I start training. 6 to 7:30 I train in the morning. It depends. Either it's swim or it's cardio in the morning. Then work begins. My official start 7:30. 7:30 to 3:30 is my normal school hours. And I try and squeeze in my lunchtime at least a gym workout, 1 hour maximum. It's at a rapid pace. I do my gym workout, and then I'm on deck coaching from 3:30 to 6. I pretty much coach from 3:30 to 6 because our program is such a big program. We have almost 500 swimmers in three different pools. So we have two pools on one campus, and then we have another pool on a different campus where I travel once a week just to look at the program and then come back. And then normally I get home 6:37, depending how the workload is. Or I like to normally sit down a bit, just to mentally just relax myself. Um, dinner, dinner, and I watch a lot of news, world news, because I like watching all that stuff. And yeah, then family time, right? It's all about family time. Once I come into my house, I never. It's very rare that I bring work home to do work. But normally, when I leave those school gates, when I leave the school gates of GIS, I've done. My days. So I look forward to coming home, spending time with family, and enjoying. In terms of me, being healthy, I've always been healthy this way. My I hardly eat junk food. You know, Very rare that I would eat a burger. I don't eat McDonald's, I don't eat KFC, and I don't eat pizzas. That stuff has ever got into my body unless we are made it at home. If my wife makes it at home, the burgers, yes. Then I know it's all the good stuff that goes in, and I monitor my diet. I'm very careful in what goes into my system, and I guess being in that sport, being an athlete, being in that professionalism, I know what my body requires, and I listen to my body. Accordingly, is what I take food that I need in that day. In that day, um, I my meals are all planned. I plan out, and I know exactly what I need to take. Uh, I drink I drink lots of fluids just to keep me hydrated, and to flush out all the toxins. And
Take
I
fluids, Conrad. What fluids do you take? Because I know for a fact that, well, obviously you don't
I
drink. I
know
remember throwing parties and, we pass you a drink and you go, nope. So
I
what are
guess
the,
I don't drink, I don't smoke. I guess that's why I'm still good looking. I'm still young. Um,
right?
uh, no, but I think it's it's that healthy living, that has kept me going this far. And I still train. I still do about 3 to 4,000 kilometers. Not two sessions, but one session still in a day. I still do my gym work. I'm still active, and I guess the key is enjoy. Enjoy what you do, and
Well, let's go into more specifics, because people that are watching and wanting to perform better will want to understand what the specifics are that we're looking at. So, in terms, for example, of drinks, do you drink juices? Do you squeeze, or do you create smoothies or freshly squeezed orange juice? What are the drinks that you have?
I try and, during the day. I try and accumulate at least between 2 to 3 liters of water during the day while I'm at work. You know, because I'm always seated in the air conditioning, and so it dehydrates you a lot. You feel dry, and then when I'm on deck in the heat, you feel lethargic. So water just keeps me fresh. Then in terms of juices, my wife is a strong advocate of having fresh juices all the time. So she'll buy the oranges, she'll make the fresh juice at home. And in terms of smoothies, I make my own smoothies. So it's normally skim milk, strawberries, raspberries, cinnamon, 1 scoop of peanut butter, um, um, and sometimes I put in whey protein as well, depending on my calorie intake of what I need to take into the body, and depending on the type of training sessions that I do. And I don't drink fizzy drink. I just don't drink at all. No Coke, no Sprite, no sodas, and it has been like this. It has been like this from the age of 15, 16. Once I became or turned pro, my life changed completely 360. The food I eat, the things that I take into my body, because end of the day I know that is what will impact. And so I always for the good things, the more organic, the more fresh. And even in terms of what I eat, it's always prepared within the day. you know and unless I like something, I'll save it and keep it for the next day. So
Right.
but no sweets, no chocolates. I don't eat chocolates. I just don't like sweets. Though I still have, it's good to have once in a way a bit of a chocolate, but
That's right.
sometimes when I have a piece of like that little cube, it's like it's
Right.
beyond
Yeah.
my taste.
Yeah, I'm
So
wondering, with you traveling, and as you said, you've coached in Beijing, you're in Jakarta right now, you lived in Melbourne. Now, when you do all your moves, how does your diet change? Do you have a typical Sri Lankan diet? Do you have your string hoppers? Do you have your curries? I mean, what is let's just say a typical lunch meal at home? I know that it's difficult when you're in school, but like when you're at home, what would be your typical breakfast and your typical lunch and your typical dinner?
but,
Is
but
it
if I was
similar to what you have at home in Jakarta, in Sri Lanka?
well, yesterday was a good lunch because yesterday I had pasta with two chicken breast, just boiled chicken breast for school, and then broccoli, about 200 grams of broccoli besides that. But on a normal day, on a normal given day, if I was to tell you in the morning, I normally have my cereals, and I like to have cereal. I like to have plant-based food in the morning, and a whey protein. Then in the afternoon for lunch, if I'm at home, of course I like to have my Sri Lankan, food. But I guess it has. I try and restrict myself from having too much of coconut based, because Sri Lankan cooking is very rich in coconut. Uh, I like my spice. I need that spice. Um, I love spice. So if I was to say, I eat red rice, a lot of brown rice. Of course, the curries are made a bit more differently. You know, uh, even Nidhi, my wife, she's also very into. She's health conscious as well, so she knows what I eat and what I don't like. So she knows how to get around me in certain things. But it's end of the day, it's all about it's the quantities that you eat.
Mm,
It's not about eating big plates. And when I
that's
eat, I know I choose what I want to eat. and I make sure whatever I choose is always clean. It's with the least amount of calories. It's the least amount of calories, and there are days in the afternoons that I've eaten even pasta with chicken breast. And when I'm especially when I'm going into competition, my diet changes a lot more. Trips out, getting ready to competition, and then dinner also changes. It's more protein based, so it's high protein in the nights, and it's very very little carbs. So I would almost say it's like 70-30 meals, 70 protein, 30% carbs. But carbs come in forms of vegetables and a lot of mashed potatoes. So I reduce the rice, and then so when it comes to pretty much meal prepping, 4 weeks out, the routine completely changes. So I prepare my body in a different way, the way I want to race, and the amount of energy calories that I need to get into my body. Because what you eat now is not what you're going to use now, what you use at the competition time.
Right.
So it's
Yes.
all about the loading phase and getting that loading phase in the right way. So it's 1 week out, but I normally do a 4 week prep, because from that 4 week out in coming into your competition, you lose a lot more energy, because I lose a lot of weight, because for me putting on weight is the hardest. So I try and eat as much as possible 4 weeks out, because I know when it comes to competition I want to be at my racing weight. So I don't want to be underweight. The more, if I can be a kg, 1 or 2 over, I don't mind, because we race normally for 3-4 days. So I know, so I keep a kg up. So each day when I'm racing, I know it's going to be just hovering around my racing and my normal weight. So I've trained myself to be like that. I've trained myself to race like that. So yeah, but I love my Sri Lankan food. I love crabs. At least once a month we have like Sri Lankan crabs, and it's like divine.
Wow, those crabs are so amazing. I was just talking to Mahela in my last
Yeah.
Cuppa, and their crabs are awesome.
I haven't tried Ministry of Crabs yet, but
Oh, you
but
do that. Yes, it's
I
very, very good.
but Nidhi, she makes the Sri Lankan crabs at home. So it's like you can be as messy as you want when you eat the crabs at home. So we enjoy it. I still enjoy Sri Lankan food. I love Sri Lankan food. I love Indian food. But everything is in moderation. It's everything is all about eating in moderation and consuming in moderation, and making sure that you burn out those calories after you eat. So that's how I enjoy my life and how I enjoy food. 'Cause
So,
I love it. I'm a big foodie.
we've gone over an hour, so I'd like to thank everyone that's still here with us. I just have a few more questions. I got a question here. Let me just go through it. Okay. This is about Sri Lankan food again. So when you're trying to, a lot of Sri Lankans are tinier. Aussies are big, stock people. When you go to Sri Lanka, you see a lot of very skinny people, not necessarily unfit. A lot of them are quite fit, but skinny. What do you do to actually gain the weight? Because you were saying you want to be able to be in your competing weight. What exactly do you eat or add into your diet to actually build the bulk?
Well, there's I don't stick. I'm a big advocate of carbs, because if you want to bulk up, you need to have carbs. But getting in the right carbs is not about I have heard stories in Sri Lanka where athletes just eat rice, big rice and curry, big rice and curry. But you don't want those unwanted calories, right? You just want the good carbs. So for me it was hard, because when I had to put on weight, and I believe it's our genetics, and where we are from Southeast Asia, we are smaller. So when I met the dietitian in Australia, when they looked at me, and they just looked at me and go, "You are going to compete at the Olympics at this way, in this size, a small little fellow." I'm like, yeah,
That's right.
because I didn't have power to keep up during training. I was technically very sound, They always say Asians are technically very sound, but when you look at the Western world, they play even cricket. They are more with power, right? Even swimming, more power based. So technically, I was perfect. It's just that now I needed to emphasize on getting the power. So where does power come from? Nutrition. So to put on, the one thing they only told me was you got to eat clean carbs. So that's like mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, brown rice, and then you got to have good fats. Good fats are very essential, like the amino acids, like the omega 3. You
That's
know,
right.
you have good cheese and milk from full cream. It became totally into skim milk because you don't want those added calories. You want the good calories because putting on weight is easy, but taking off weight is the hardest part. And protein. Protein was key because I used to be a sprinter. So to be a sprinter, you need to have a lot more power based. A lot more power. So it was high protein, high carbs. It was like how I said, it was 70-30. This was the opposite: 70 carbs, 30 protein, and in between with the fats. So that's how I looked at it. And of course, you have to exercise because not
That's right.
you have to exercise. If you want to put on weight, you have to do your cardio. You got to do the right cardio type. You got to hit the gym the right way. You got to do your meal prepping, and it's all about eating healthy, eating clean,
That's right.
consistency. And from 3 meals a day, I used to eat up to about 6 meals a day. Keeping that. It's all about keeping the metabolism high. It's not up down, up down. It's not a sine wave. But
That's right.
continuity, so that your body is consuming energy all the time, and that's actually how I put on weight. But I still lose weight. I'm still underweight. I'm still like at 70. Some days I'm at 70. Some days 72. But I
Well, you
hang around in.
very high, Conrad. So that's actually good. But I think that's something that I want to just add to the listeners here. When Conrad explains that he's on high carbs, he also is a very active person. So if you're not active, let's not look at that diet right now. It
It's just
literally is for some of you. I have a few patients that I'm dealing with right now who are needing to bulk up, and I love how you've said that, Conrad, because some of them really think that it's just, oh, let me just add more bread or add more rice. Those aren't the types that we want you to add into your diet. We actually want you to have more of the vegetables. The root
right.
vegetables are very high in carbohydrates. They're a good one to actually pump into your system.
Exactly.
I'm not a great
Exactly.
advocate of milk. I prefer like soy milk, almond milk, but again, it also depends on what you're trying to do. The other thing that I want to just pump in here and remind everyone else, and um, remind you, I think I've mentioned this already before. Coconut oil is actually really good. Coconut oil, although it can be a bit high in calorie, is actually one that flushes out excess oil from your system, and it's also one that helps lubricate your skin, your hair, your bones, muscles. So I know a lot of Sri Lankans, when I was practicing in Sri Lanka, were saying, oh, I need to change my diet because I eat a lot of curry. And I just say, it's not the curry, it's the rice that comes with the curry that you're eating.
Right.
And again, I guess the other thing is you can't have curry every day. You actually have to keep changing what you're eating. And that's the
Exactly.
pitfall. Not just in Sri Lanka, but in a lot of places. When you love something, you end up just eating just one thing. But our body needs a variety of things. So to provide their body with everything, you need to actually start adding a little bit more in your diet and changing things a little bit more.
That's true. Like I agree with what you said because we don't. I only have Sri Lanka maybe once a week, just once a week, and that's like a cheat meal. That's my cheat meal. But in the rest of the 6 days, it's everything is prepped, so it's it's clean. It's all boiled. It's either boiled, baked, and curries is like almost only like probably 10% of my meals for a week.
You
So
do realize
it's very
that if hear you here right now, when you get home for your holiday, everyone's gonna feed you everything that you've missed. If you're there for a whole week, you're gonna eat everything that you've missed: the string hoppers, the egg hoppers, the curries. Oh,
think for me, my mentality is wherever I go, I need to have a gym and I need to be able to run 5 to 6K every day in the morning. So that way, even if I eat, I don't feel that heaviness.
that's
I
right.
don't feel heavy. And I don't eat rice. I try and stay away from rice completely, because the one experiment that I did by myself is you take a handful of grains of rice, you put it in a cup, and see what happens, because rice expands.
That's right.
You know,
Yes,
expands, and that's what people don't understand. When you eat rice, it just expands in your stomach, and then they wonder why do you have bellies, why do you have stomach? Hang on,
that's,
this is your number one killer, right?
yes.
So I do my own experiments. I do my own little experiments. I come up and I know end of the day, it's what is good for your body. You got to be able to, you got to make that the you got to make the right decision. You got to take what is good for you.
That's right. I
And
like that you said that. I like that you said that you make your own experiments, because very recently you've set up a Kangen machine in your home. And I want
oh
to
yeah,
know how you've been since you've started drinking that. And we've talked about some experiments we're going to do with your swimming and Kangen. But just, in the few weeks that you've started drinking the water, what did you think of the water taste wise, and how you felt, and everything else
uh,
that your thoughts
it's
on it?
yeah. Um, well, just to give you a gist, now it's been what, I think about 4 weeks now drinking yeah, about four
Yeah,
or
something
five
like that.
weeks, something like that. So at first, getting used to drinking the normal filtered water we drank was, I thought, okay, this is good stuff what we drink. But then, when you introduced us to Kangen water, it was like this whole thought from another planet. When you kept talking about Kangen water, and all of that. But I think I see the results now. I think each body reacts differently. So, like you said, start off with 8.5 and then move up to 9.5. So, the taste is different. You don't get a taste, so you're just drinking it. And I think the consumption is much more. You know, so I've been consuming a lot more water, and I take it to school as well, much as I can. I take at least a liter of Kangen water to school. But the biggest difference I see is I'm more energetic.
Hmm.
You know, I'm more alert. Uh, and like you said, when I took the 9.5, it just hits you. It just goes whoa. For a while, you just go whoa. It's like a brain freeze for a while. But I have seen differences in the gym, because I use that, I take that 1 liter of water just to the gym only, just to do my own experiments.
That,
The recovery rate is good. It's much more faster. Um, it's much more faster. It's increased my recovery rate even during training. Even during training, I feel there is much more minerals in my body.
that's right.
Much more mineral. I feel more like fresh. I feel much more fresh, completely fresh. Completely ready to go, and it's a different feeling that you get when you drink that. It's like your brain is a bit more, or more on alertness, I guess. You don't feel lethargic. And uh, you just want to keep consuming that water. That's the problem. You just want
Yeah.
to keep drinking
I'm
all the
wondering,
time.
does it actually affect the your endurance? Like, are you able to do more reps, or lift heavier weights?
It,
Because, God, Conrad, I saw the weights that you were lifting, and I was telling my husband, I go, my gosh, that's huge, huge weights that you're lifting in front of you,
um,
and you just pumping up.
yes, yes, I do. I think it is more helped with, in a buffering sense. I say in the buffering sense, I think it has pushed back, the lactic acid buildup in my
Mm.
body. So of course, we all build up lactic acid, which is a natural source. It's a natural element. But I think it has helped me to prolong the buffering of lactic acid, which has given me that extra. I just okay. For example, yesterday I was in the gym, um, and I was doing a certain rep on the shoulder incline. And normally, give and take, I would do between 13 to 14. But yesterday, I was consuming the whole day yesterday. And I was almost on my last two reps. I was able to push out about, I think, 19 to 21 reps yesterday. So I guess it's the nutrients, it's the macronutrients that is in the water that helps you flush that toxins, so that the lactic acid doesn't build in your blood, that oxygen is being produced and is moving around. I think that's the key importance, because of course the more oxygen we can have in our bodies, the better we perform, right?
That's right.
So
Yes.
so I would agree. I would like to say that yeah, it has helped me in the long terms of endurance, because there are certain reps that I am doing almost between 40 to 50 reps at one go.
Right.
Um, and yes, it has helped. I see a difference. I see a difference because I've just started on it. So I would think, if I give you it from a score of 10, I almost see about between 4 and 5 of a difference between a span of 4 weeks, and I'm sure there is much more good things to come.
That's right.
Um,
But I'd
I might
love
be
to see
Superman.
more experiments on it. We had young swimmers try the water out, and they've monitored their times, their swimming times, and how, again, as you said, it just allows you to push more, push
Exactly.
further, because you're not getting exhausted faster, and you're not aching. You're not aching quite as much because of the uh, I guess, extra push or extra pressure. So I'd love to be able to see later on down the track comparisons in terms of speed and in terms of number of laps that you're able to do because of it. I mean, I know you create diaries, so I'd love to be able to see the notations on that. But
I
for
think
those
that
of you,
I think
sorry,
I think there will be a big. I would think there will be a big more impact, because it helps a lot more with athletes, because it's we on such strict diets is one component, and when you're having the ionized water, you know it's more like a compound. It creates a chemical reaction, a chemistry reaction. um, and I think athletes will benefit much more, because our bodies are pretty much like robots. So it will have a much more greater significance impact on the long term, not short term, but
that's
long term. Because short term, you only get you only get results maybe 10-20%. But if you're looking at a long term effect, you know there will be much more significance. I wish I had Kangen water, when I was 16, I guess. But who knew? For us, water was water, right? You drink
that's right.
water.
I can't
So
believe that
water,
we didn't talk about it when you were in Sri Lanka, because we had that in Colombo.
you still drink your water when I should after coaching, because I should be so hydrated. When we train in Melbourne, we just open the tap, we drink the water, because for us, water was water. And I guess till to date, a normal person, a normal human being thinks water is water, but we never think of water is, you get so many elements into the aspect of drinking clean water, good water.
That's that's right.
Uh, so end of the day, it's all about education. It's all about educating one, and
Yes.
learning from another person, and taking that knowledge and making it to benefit ourselves in a good way, not in a bad way. And end of the day, like you said, it's all about experimenting and doing what is right for you and what makes you feel better.
Yeah, and I think also, Conrad. I mean, you said something earlier on in this chat, and you said you've always been very careful about your health and what you put in your body. Because I remember when I started sharing the information with you, you go, "Oh my God, I gotta have that," you know. And that was the exact thought I had when I first learned about it. I go, oh my God, I can't drink normal water anymore. I gotta have this because I knew with what I saw that it was gonna give me more than what my water was giving me. And again, without education, we wouldn't have known that. Without education, you wouldn't have known the best way to swim. Without education, you wouldn't have known which stroke or how to adjust your stroke to be able to
Exactly.
glide better under the water. You know,
Exactly.
so it's yeah, it's just amazing, guys. If anything, what I want you to pick up from this chat, and all my Cuppas is about just sharing knowledge, because I love sharing knowledge. But learn how, if you gotta go, you gotta look at what are the tools you need to be able to complete that goal. If it's a business goal, what is it that you need to actually get yourself further? If it's a goal with sport, with your career, what is it that you need? But don't look at just one aspect. For example, let's just say if I were doing business, I traveled for my work, I would lecture overseas in the US, in Canada, in Hong Kong, in Singapore. I can't look at this situation right now and say, that's it, I'm doomed. I have to look at this situation and say, okay, to be able to get to my goal of being able to educate others, what do I need now to change, and what do I need to do? And after I say, well, yep, I got to go online. Online isn't the only aspect. What else do I need to do? Mindset. If we don't fix our mindset right now, it'll drive us crazy, Conrad. I mean, I have to admit, I have days where I want to just throw the towel in and go, what? I just can't deal with this.
Exactly.
And,
Mindset. Train
you
your
know,
mind.
you're
Without
in a country that's very different from Colombo. Colombo's, just how do you call it, stop the pandemic by doing the lockdown so quickly, and you're
exactly.
right now in a country where that's happening very slowly. So again, mindset of thinking, god, we have to start making it happen to change what's happening around us is quite important. So what I'm saying is, look at everything, all the aspects of what you need to improve yourself to get to the goal that you need. And the most important aspect that people usually forget is their health. Conrad will not be the Olympian that he is. He will not be the great mentor that he is if he is not careful with what he puts on his body, in his body, what he does, what his thoughts are. And the same with anyone in any walk of life, in any industry, because you are your own asset. You are what you need to be able to fulfill your goals. So look at what you're doing to yourself, look at how you're treating yourself, and look at what other things you need to build and to get to your goals. There's nothing that's unachievable if you set your mind and keep your eye on the prize, as Conrad says.
Always eye on the prize.
So, Conrad, any last words? We don't have a lot of time, and I'm really, really thankful for you sticking sticking there. It's already almost an hour and a half. What's
Thank
your last piece of advice for both adults and children? So, for the adults, if they haven't been able to pursue their dreams, and for children who want to pursue their dreams, what do you have to say that will help them find their winning edge and be able to just get it happening?
In terms of children, I always say enjoy what you do in life because life is short, right? Life is short. And in terms of whether it is may it be education, may it be a personal life, or may it be sport, take each day as it comes. Make the most of it because once your 24 hours is gone, it's gone. It's a new day. But anything that you do in life, learn from it and take that life skill and put it. I call it as a toolbox. Put it in your toolbox. You know, take that life skill, put it in a toolbox. If you learn something, put it in your toolbox. Because end of the day, the bigger the toolbox you have, the better this you have much more skills to play around with, right? So that's how I look at it. It's like my diaries. That is my toolbox. So I just pull out a session and go, okay, this is the session we're going to swim today, and this is the session I'm going to run with my squads, right? Of course, depending on the scenario, depending on the situation, how the team is. But in terms of students, in terms of a little child, nothing is impossible. Absolutely nothing. I believe nothing is impossible. Anything is possible, but this is the strongest weapon, your mindset and your heart. Because I believe your mind and heart has to connect. Because end of the day, it is stepping up, and it is that fine line which I call is between the amateur and the pro, right? You've got to have heart. Even at training with my varsity, I said, if you don't have heart, forget it. You cannot do everything. You can have this, but you need this as well to be able to go into battle. I always think it's like going into battle, right? The bigger the heart, the better you become. The better you are. You are ready. You are an animal. So I always say, for kids, keep this straight focus on the little things. It's always on the little aspects. When it comes to sport, it's number one. It's technique. Think of technique, and think of repeating that technique in your mind. It's more of a focus vision. You got to be able to play, or you got to do that stroke when you're watching that stroke, when your coach is showing that, you should be able to replay that 10 times before you can achieve that, before I could have even practiced that stroke. That's how I looked at it. So I look at it as a photographic memory. I'm actually a very photographic memory. And then coming into adults, no matter what, whether it is whether it's your weight loss, whether it's your personal goals, you got to be able to be disciplined. When we get older, of course, there is so much more we look at things, life differently. But in the day, it's discipline, dedication, and the determination that makes you who you are. Because those were my three life skills, my three D's that I live by, and I still live by that. So I don't go out of that, and I don't go and I try and stay within that. I if you have those three, I guess life is always successful, because determination, discipline, and dedication are the three strongest weapons that one can possess in life. And stick to basics. You don't have to think Einstein. Basic. You know, like I'm sure you agree with me, Michelle. It's all about basic living. You
That's
know,
right.
you got to
Simplicity.
simplicity. If you look at our forefathers, they never had any of this technology. They never had pastas and all of that. But choose, take the old, take the new, put it together, and divide it in half, and you will get your balance, your equality in life.
That's right. That's right. I love that, Conrad. I love that. With
That is
children, if I can just add, if your parents are pushing you too hard, I've got 4 kids, and I've learned that children can make you open your eyes to what you're doing. Just remember that, again, like Conrad said, there's a lot of heart there. So when parents push you, there's a lot of heart. But you need to also have the heart to see what they're trying to do and say, Mom, I know that you love me, or Dad, I know that you love me. That's why you're pushing me, but this is how it's affecting me. You need to learn to speak up. If you really truly believe in what you're doing, and you really truly believe that you have it in you to be the next Olympian, or whatever it is that your dream is, you have to be able to tell your parents, I understand what you're trying to do, but can we do it this way? Can
yes,
we try my way? Or can we compromise? Don't ever approach it like, oh, you're being mean. Because when there's no heart in the way we speak to each other, we can't achieve anything. When
correct.
you see your heart and your parents' heart and meet halfway, that's when things work out.
It,
Okay?
it's the best, because
That's
situations are different. So, but when you get older and when you're in the professional, if you're in professional sport, then it's more like the coach's highway, right? you have to get on. You got to get onto that roller coaster because
Exactly.
it's different tiers of training, different tiers of how you look at it. So when you're the more professional, you do things in a professional manner because end of the day you rely on your coach to get you there. But when you're young, it's a compromisation, and you can always give it. You can listen to your child and do it her way. You can listen to your parents and see which is the best fit. End of the day, because end of the day both have to achieve it.
That's right. That's
So
right. I love that.
there's no
And
right or wrong.
that's right. And for those of you that have, or I don't know, you're in your 40s or your 50s or your 60s, it doesn't matter at what stage you are, and you've realized that you've spent all your time building your business, raising your family, and you now want to pursue your dream, it's never too late. As Conrad said, it's just all mindset. Start from wherever it is that you can start. I remember in February, was it February or January? I started getting in touch with Conrad and saying, look, my shoulder's starting to get weak and I want to go back to swimming. Am I doing it right? And I'd send him photos, so it really doesn't matter where you're starting, as long as you want to start and you want to do it right, and you just have to be consistent. Unfortunately, flying back here, no more pools. Pools are closed because it's bloody winter.
We told you not to leave.
I know. Well, it's not quite that simple, but anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed this cuppa. I always have my coffee with me. Conrad, what was your drink of choice?
Oh, this one. Water, Kangen water. Believe me or not, because it was early in the morning, right? So
That's right. No, exactly.
My third cup.
I always say to my patients, try and drink about 500 mils to a liter of water first thing in the morning, depending on how long before you start eating. But flushing out the toxins that build up during the night is really, really important. Again, Conrad, thank you so much. And I miss you and Needy. I hope to, be able to get back there and
Come back. Come back
we'll
soon. Bring it
there next time.
done. Done.
Have a great day, guys.
You too, Michelle. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. And if I did not see your messages, hi, Tita Nori. Hi, Jana. Hi, Kenny. Hey, Geraldine. Hey, Patricia. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Joy. Hey, Marie. Hey, Sheila. Guys, for anyone who's had messages that we weren't able to bring up here, we will be looking at all the different platforms. As I said, we've got 8 platforms live right now. We will be responding to them. And even if you're watching this replay and you've got questions, do shoot your questions about health, about wellness, about mindset for Conrad or myself, and we'll get back to you. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you on my next Cuppa with Michelle.